Welcome back to Job Club. I'm Tori Johnson in New York, and we're joined again by Scott Gerber, author of the brand new book, Never Get a Real Job, and Michael Simmons, author of the Student Success Manifesto. And they're just two members of a new initiative to help aspiring entrepreneurs. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, Scott, let me start with you because you founded this council for young entrepreneurs, and I want to have a sense of what the purpose of it is and how exactly it works.
Absolutely. Well, the basic purpose right now is we're an advocacy group made up of some of the top Gen Y young entrepreneurs in the world that have come together truly to help young people overcome the epidemics of youth unemployment and underemployment by teaching them the practical nuts and bolts theories, and as well as the actual education of how to build, manage, and run their own businesses. And that's very important, of course, given today's economy.
All right, Michael, how are you going to be involved? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm the co-founder of an organization called the Extreme Entrepreneurship Tour in partnership with the Campaign for Free Enterprise. We do hundreds of events every single year on college campuses promoting entrepreneurship. And working with other council members, we deliver the message that as a young entrepreneur, you can be successful, and it's actually a realistic option in today's world. It's not something you have to wait 20 years for.
Michael, when you're out talking to people, what are some of those nuts and bolts that you're sharing? For somebody who's really just trying to get started, they have this great idea, but they've never had to pitch something, they've never had to sell something. What are you telling them to do?
And I would actually say that the nuts and bolts are extremely important, but the key is to take action, because so many times I see people get stuck with analyzing and get stuck in analysis paralysis. We would say to go out there, go ahead and talk to customers. You're going to suck at first. You're not going to be that good, but the key is to actually take action and do it, because you get better by actually doing it and taking those risks.
Sure. All right, Scott, so I'm somebody who's watching this and I say like, oh, I really need those two guys and their team on my side. How can I tap into that expertise? So how can I get that one-on-one help that the council's going to provide?
Absolutely. Well, right now we're in the beginning of a very large movement to take the National Council all the way down to the hyper-local level, so that colleges, universities, and a variety of other recent college graduates and beyond are going to have access to the information provided by these young professionals. And what we've done is basically started a campaign where the first steps will be to create a brand new platform at YoungEntrepreneurCouncil.com that will launch in 2011 and provide these kinds of insights on a regular basis. For now, you can go to NeverGetARealJob.com and get a lot of your questions answered by asking the council a question. We then take those answers and post them both on NeverGetARealJob.com as well as to a variety of different media partners that we have, such as the Wall Street Journal and Entrepreneur Magazine.
So it's a great way for somebody to get instant feedback, perhaps first by reading some of the questions that other people have had, and oftentimes learning I'm not alone. There's lots of people who had that same question or posing some of their own.
Absolutely. The most important thing to realize in this new world of creating a job to keep a job is that we're going to learn best from our peers, best from people who understand us. One of the reasons I even wrote my book was because I understood who I was writing for, because I'm one of them. And that's how we all feel as council members, is that we've been very fortunate that we've worked very hard and still work very hard to be able to put ourselves out there to create these successful businesses. And if we can help others to understand the trials and tribulations that lay ahead for them and understand what it's going to take from the trenches to be successful, I think we're going to be doing this as a great service to young people across the world.
Absolutely. All right, Michael, oftentimes we learn from our mistakes.
Yep.
So or from other people's mistakes, ideally. What's a mistake that you've made as you've launched your career that someone else could learn from?
Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes I made and that I see other people make is focusing too much on the product and trying to get too fancy, and then trying to raise money so you could push the product out there. You could get stuck trying to raise $1 million or however much, and you never get out there. I always advise to actually pre-sell your idea. A lot of people don't realize that you don't have to put all the money into creating the product before you sell it. You can create a one-pager, you can create a PowerPoint, you can create a basic website, set up meeting with potential customers and ask them for their feedback and say, if we created this, would you be willing to purchase it? And that's exactly how I wrote my book originally. Before it was even published, I had thousands of orders from people who were willing to purchase it. before we started going to college campuses, we already had 10 schools signed up just from showing them a PowerPoint deck, a sample agenda of the speakers, and probably about 99% of the businesses you can actually do that for.
And Scott, do you think that sometimes people are too afraid to ask questions, to go find that formal, informal focus group, to pick up the phone and cold call somebody, or to ask for an appointment? Do we hide a lot behind email, hide a lot behind the idea to kind of use that as a crutch so that we don't have to actually go out there and start talking to people to make things happen?
Absolutely. And I always say that, if you yourself are an introvert and can't be the salesman or the face of the company, one great thing about Gen Y is that we are a nation of collaborators. We are people who can fill in our weaknesses by using other people's strengths. So in collaborating and partnering and finding people who complement our business skills with their business skills is one way to move forward. But the bottom line is, no matter what you do, you represent your brand, and you should be putting yourself out there, even if it's painful to do so that you get used to that. Because frankly, especially looking at the job search market right now, the reason people aren't getting opportunities is because it's so hard to put yourself out there in a way that you get noticed. This is about getting noticed by kicking down doors, by making sure you have the right boot to kick it down with.
All right, Michael, social media important for building your business?
I think social media is a critical importance in building a business. I found it really important for once you meet somebody, building the relationship and staying top of mind awareness. But it doesn't replace the in-person meeting and sales calls. It's a complement to it.
Absolutely. I know I always tell job seekers, people hire people, so you've got to connect with more people, and people buy from people, so you've got to be making sure that you're connecting with as many people as possible. All right, Scott, really quickly, give me the last word that you want people to walk away with who are scared, worried, frustrated about just going and doing it.
Absolutely. Well, if you're just out of college or about to be out of college, the one thing I'll say is, your parents, your mentors, and all these different factors are going to tell you that you need to validate your college education by putting yourself into the real job world. And I'm here to tell you it is not true. You can basically create your own future. It is hard work. It is not easy, but it's going to be more fulfilling. It's going to allow you to make mistakes. It's going to allow you to fail, but it's going to allow you to benefit from those failures and allow you to succeed if you work hard and you stop trying to work hard, get good grades, and get a job. So don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to have never allowed yourself to fail.
To not have tried, exactly. All right, Michael, thank you so much for being here. And
Thank
Scott,
you, Tori.
we're not going to let you go just yet, because when we return, you and I are going to answer some viewer questions. Job Club will be right back.